Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're going to be breaking into a box of Fury of the Deep. And this is our Idoneth Deepkin versus Fyreslayer Dwarves, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and this is the most recent battle box. Alright, so there's our plastic wrap off, and we can sort of take a look at the back cover here, and we can see that this box contains 40-page Fury of the Deep rulebook, 56-page Warhammer Age of Sigmar core rulebook, token sheet, and 9 War Scroll cards, 43 miniatures, including for the Idoneth Deepkin, 1 Akhelian Thrallmaster, 1 Akhelian Allopex, 10 Namarti Reavers, 10 Namarti Thralls, and then for the Fyreslayers we have 1 Auric Flamekeeper, 5 Auric Hearthguard, 5 Hearthguard Berzerkers, and 10 Vulkite Berzerkers. So that is everything in the box. Let's open it up and take a look. All right, so here we have the box all opened up. Let's sort of dive in and take a look. All right, so here we have our first sprue for the Idoneth Deepkin. These are our Shark Rider cavalry, basically. I guess that's what you would call them. So we've got a few little sea elves on top of some pretty aggressive looking sharks. First off, I mean, the detail on these is absolutely phenomenal. They look really cool. Definitely are some options. There's like some crossbows, some swords, some spears. Definitely a nice looking kit. This is by no means new though. These have previously been available. All right, and then next we have the new character. This guy has like a little eel flying next to him, and then has a sort of like halberd in one hand and a little dagger in the other. A couple of double daggers for his back. Again, absolutely phenomenal detail. I love these sort of like tattoo brands that they have on their flesh. Definitely would look really cool painted up, as especially with contrast paints. The little subtle sort of detail in these models would really be accented by where the contrast paint pigment dries. A very nice looking model right here. All right, and then here we have our first main sprue. Now these are, again, the Deepkin. They have options for different weaponry. So we see there are some axe options. There are some double-handed sword options as well. We see that there are some various poses. Man, these are really nice. I mean, the detail on these is absolutely phenomenal. I'm not sure how popular these are for Age of Sigmar. I have never actually purchased or had in front of me these models before, but to tell you the truth, the pictures just do not do these justice. I mean, they are absolutely phenomenal. The amount of details on each of these models, I mean, their weaponry and just how elaborate they are. They're little sort of like, it's almost like sort of a tattoo or like a burn kind of scar type thing into their flesh. But I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. The armor on these guys is amazing as well. Or should I say guys and girls? Because we obviously have a mix of male and female parts. And then there's also like a bunch of little sea type like creature and accessories to go with them on their bases. We see some sort of like, I think it's sea coral over here. And then here we have coral with a couple fish swimming by. Here we have another kind of just fish swimming around. Then we have like some various other sort of like clams and stuff here. Very cool. There's like some seaweed up here, a little, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of just little accents for the bases. Very, very nice models. I really like these guys. They look great, guys and girls. All right, and then next here we have the archers. So we have a pretty elaborate like quiver and archer system. Again, a bunch of little creatures to swim around on the bases, a mix of male and female sea elves. Very dynamic poses on these. And it looks like there's so many bows. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but it looks like, I mean, just on this side, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bows. And then on the other side, we have another 3, 5, 6, another 10 bows. So there's over 20 bows on this sprue. I'm not sure why. They all appear to be the same. Maybe left and right hand bows? Yeah, it looks like you get an even amount of left and right-handed bows. So you can make all your models either left or right-handed. Uh, Yeah, definitely a thing. And then we have little eels swimming around, all kinds of extra little details. You can sort of flip it over here and see the details on the faces. Great looking sprue. Great looking models right here. I mean, the armor is like super elaborate. They are very dynamically posed. Really like these. All right, and that is it for the sea elves. Let's take a look at the dwarves next. So these are our Fyreslayers. So this guy is supposed to be like the funeral rite kind of guy from what it described. So pretty cool cloak here. He has basically like that reptilian kind of cloak, holding a little burning piece of something or another in one hand, some kind of sacrificial ceremonial type deal, and then a pretty elaborate axe in the other hand. Again, nice looking model. Definitely liking the detail here. Yeah, very nice. And then here is the first of the dwarven sprues. So we're going to have 2 of this sprue included in the box, and each sprue will make 5 of these dwarves. And then you have the options for either the picks, the shields, or the axes. And then you can do double axes if you want. And we see various helmet and beard configurations. Some pretty cool, sort of like mohawk type action. Very nice. And you can have quite a few extra bits done depending on which way you decide to assemble these guys. And then we'll have 2 sprues of 5 of these, and they do make the 2 different variants. Again, I've seen these before, but very nice models. Extremely detailed. Good looking dwarves right here. And then once again, the same thing here. Now this is a different sprue, but we will again have 2 of these sprues, each one containing 5 of the dwarves. Now these are pretty cool. They have either sort of like some chain weaponry. It's almost like a mace. It's like a chain with a axe blade on the end of it type deal. And that is one option to build them. And then the other option is to build them with these, I believe they're like flame spitters, sort of like flamethrower type deals. It's basically like a double-handed weapon with a dragon's head on the end. And I could be completely wrong on this, but I believe they like breathe fire. It looks like some of the actual models have some fire kind of coming out of their mouths. So I might be correct on that. And then they have a bunch of extra keys to add on to them. Quite a few different head and helmet options as well. I mean, the detail on these models is absolutely top notch. Very, very crisp. Very nice looking models. And the same thing again, they have sort of like tattoos built into their flesh, or like burn marks or whatever, sort of like various ruins and whatnot. So again, if you do like a flesh contrast paint or something like that, they have like that Fyreslayer flesh. I bet these come out looking absolutely phenomenal. A couple little highlights to kind of finish them up, and these guys probably look top notch. Very nice quality models in this set, of course. And then obviously quite a few bases in here. These appear to all be 32 millimeters. So there's a ton of them. Then we have one of the large oval bases, or larger oval bases, with 3 flying stands. And then next we have our Fury of the Deep pack right here. This has a bunch of various books and materials in it, so let's kind of bust into that and take a look. All right, so first we have our little assembly guide. Just gonna show our breakdown here. So we have the Akhelian Thrallmaster. Again, very nice looking model right there. I like that he has some various textures for his base as well. So you could have a nice start and then just kind of accent that your own way to make it look even better. And then we have the Akhellian Allopex. That's our Shark Riders. Okay, now it does say that you only get 1 base in the set and 1 flying stand. So I may have been mistaken about that. This must be just 1 larger shark and then has some options on the sprue. I was thinking that it was multiple sharks. So that actually makes sense. This is more of like a artillery piece, not the multi-rider kind of cavalry that I was picturing. So yeah, that's correct. This one has multiple riders on it with like a sort of heavy crossbow and some other various options. We got spears, heavy crossbow. He can double wield the crossbow. Looks like sort of a harpoon thing going on here. Maybe with a, yeah, it looks like a net, harpoon net. Pretty cool, pretty cool. That's what it would look like all completed. And then we have the Namarti Reavers. And with the Reavers, we have the option for, it looks like either a right or left-handed bow for every model. Not sure why they went that direction, but that is an interesting choice. So without a doubt, you're going to end up with quite a few extra bows when you are completed. But these models are great. The detail on them is phenomenal. They have a bunch of like cool cloaks and kind of cape-like things. And then at the bottom here, we see the Namarti Thralls. And a bunch of different head options. And these Thralls have the choice of these cool, elaborate axes. Or alternatively, there are some various swords. Some strange kind of, I don't know what that is, a scythe type thing. A bunch of different two-handed weapons. Very cool. They may all have the same rules too, and just various ways of presenting them. But very nice looking kit right here. The detail on these guys is awesome. These are great. And then we obviously have male and female versions as well. And then they have a sort of like elaborate kind of back piece for the icon bearer. Okay, that's cool. The icon bearer is actually just a more elaborate back piece, but still double wielding the weapon. And then we see all our various little like fishy bits and everything to add on to the bases. And then on to the dwarves next. We have the Auric Flamekeeper. Cool looking model. He's holding up like this little flame relic in one hand and the axe in the other. He's got his pretty cool looking helmet on there. And a triple mohawk. And then we see the Auric Hearthguard. And they're the ones with like sort of these flame cannon looking things with the blade on the end. So they look like they're ready for melee or to throw some flames at you. And then the Hearthguard Berzerkers. And these can be alternatively assembled. So they have that sort of crazy mace looking thing with an axe head on the end. Again, very nice looking models. And I believe those are the same models, could be assembled as either. And then here we have for the Vulkite Berzerkers. These can have either the two axes. We obviously have a musician. Or you could alternatively do like the picks and the shields for these guys as well. So yeah, that is our assembly guide. All right, and this is what I was originally reading and talking about, but wasn't sure how this was going to manifest. But I do really like this. So this is the actual core rules book. So this is the full rule book, but instead of like big hardback form, you get it condensed down into this 56-page soft cover rule book with everything you need to actually play the game. This is really nice because that turns these from being, you know, just basically to start collecting boxes or like expansion sets into like a full playable game. Now it doesn't include rulers or dice, but having the rules and assuming that you could pick up some dice on your own or you already have some dice, this sets you up to be able to actually play with this box. So it turns it from just sort of like an expansion box or like an army starting box to like a starting game box, which is very, very cool. I like that a lot. I hope they do the same thing for 40K. And then here we see the War Scroll cards. And again, I really like this. I hope they transition to doing this for 40K as well. Having the War Scroll cards is basically like having a data card from your codex, or in this case, you know, from your battle tome. So we have basically, they're all the Fury of the Deep, thing on the front. But when we flip them over, they have the rules for the war pick hand axe. This is the Vulkite Berzerkers. They have for the throwing axe, rules for the champion, musician. Their special rules, Berserk Fury and Bladed Sling Shield. And then, of course, all their stats for movement attacks to hit, wound, rend, and damage. So this is really nice. And then, of course, their move status, save, bravery, and wounds per model. I really like this. I wish these came in all like the 40k sets. Even if you have the codex, these are nice to have when you play with, because instead of having like your full book out at all times, you can just have like the appropriate cards for your models. So I would absolutely love these to go mainstream for 40k as well. So here we have the Vulkite Berzerkers. Okay, so that was the Vulkite Berzerkers with bladed sling shields. Here's the Vulkite Berzerkers with fire steel hand axes. So that's the two ways you could build that kit. And then here we have the Hearthguard Berzerkers. Again, full stats displayed right here for the champion. There's special rules, movement, wounds, all that stuff. And then we'll have the alternate build for them, which is the Auric Hearthguard. And it's called a Magma Pike. That's what I was talking about before. So it has like a bunch of little blades on the end, but apparently is spewing some magma. Range 1 inch, so maybe not that far. Okay, missile weapon, Magma Pike, 18 inches. So they have throwing axes with an 8-inch range, and they have magma that they can shoot out of their pikes with an 18-inch range. And then the melee version is the Magma Pike if you're just going to smash somebody with it. So yeah, it is like definitely like a flamethrower type thing. Very cool. Nice looking models. And then we have our Auric Flamekeeper, and this is the new model to the set. Unique to this set. And he has 5 wounds, 4 move, 4+ save, 8 bravery, and then comes with a brazier axe with range of 1, attacks 4, +3 to hit, 3+ to wound, rend -1, and damage 2. And then he has quite a few special rules as well. Master Flame Ruin. When this unit is set up, place a d6 besides it with 1 facing up. Each time a friendly Fyreslayer model is slain within 12 inches of this unit, increase the value of the dice in this unit by 1. So every time somebody dies within 12 inches of him, he builds up to a maximum of 6 charges. And once per turn at the start of the combat phase, if the value of the dice beside this unit is 6, you can say that this unit will draw upon the power of the runes of their fallen brethren. If you do so, pick one friendly Auric Hearthguard, Hearthguard Berzerker, or Vulkite Berzerker unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit, and apply 1 to the following effects to that unit. Then change the value of the dice beside this unit back to 1. Each effect lasts until the end of the phase. So you use up the 6 charges, it goes back to 1, and then that unit that is wholly within 12 inches of him gets Grimnir's Grit. The unit has a ward of 6+, Grimnir's Wrath. If a model in that unit is slain and the model has not yet fought in the phase, the model can fight before it is removed from play. Grimnir's Resolve. The unit can immediately attempt to charge. Or Grimnir's Vengeance. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of that unit's melee weapons. So they can either immediately charge, add 1 to their damage, they have a 6+ ward, or they can fight even if they're killed before they would normally have an option to. So pretty cool. Definitely feeds off the power of his brethren dying around him as he like channels their ruins. All right, and then we have the Sea Elves, the Namarti Reavers first. All right, and this is a unit that's been around for a while, but they have the Whisper Bows and Hand Blades. That's the Reavers. And then we have the Akhellian Allopexes, and this is the big support unit. So it has a Razor Shell Harpoon Launcher or a Retarius Net Launcher. So again, that's the 2 options for your big gun on there. And then we have barbed hooks and blades and a ferocious bite for in combat. Again, nice looking detail on this model. Very cool. And then we have the Namarti Thralls. So these Thralls are very nice looking models. It looks like the Lanmari Blade only has 1 stat, so it looks like they're the same. And then you have a champion, you have their special rule Sweeping Blows. And then here we have the new character, the Akhelian Thrallmaster. So for him we have a move of 6, 5 wounds, 7 bravery, and a 4+ save. And the companion, this unit is accompanied by a Snapjaw Eel armed with a vicious bite. And that's a little dude creeping around on his base. Very cool. He has these esoteric weapons and his vicious bite, probably from the eel. Range 1, so no ranged weapons. He has 5 attacks. The eel has 2. To hit is a 3+ for both of them. To wound is a 3+ for his weapon and a 4+ for the eel. The rend is -1 on his weapon, nothing for the eel, and then damage 2 for his weapon and 1 for the eel. And then he has the Akhelian fighting stance. At the start of the combat phase, you must pick one of the following fighting stances for the unit to use. Each effect lasts until the end of the phase. And then our stances are either Way of the Depths. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by this unit and friendly Namarti units wholly within 12. So reroll 1s to hit in melee for everyone within 12, including him. Or Way of the Riptide. If the unmodified hit roll of an attack made with a melee weapon by this unit for a friendly Namarti unit wholly within 12 of this unit is 6, the attack scores 2 hits on the target instead of 1, making a wound and save roll for each hit. So it explodes on 6s for him and friendly Namarti. And then Way of the Vortex. Subtract 1 from the wound rolls for attacks that target this unit and friendly Namarti units wholly within 12. So it makes them more difficult to wound by 1. So if normally they would need a 4 to wound you, they would instead need a 5. So very cool. He has the ability to make them hit better with rerolls, to have exploding 6s on hits, or to make them 1 harder to hit. So offensive and defensive stances. Very nice looking model right here. This is absolutely phenomenal. This guy's sick. And looks like the rules are very good as well. And that is it for our War Scroll cards. Back to the beginning. And then here we have our Fury of the Deep book. So these books are pretty cool. They only come with these box sets, but often not only do you get your rules and models in advance for the new stuff, but there's usually some cool missions and a bunch of like stories or lore or whatever inside of these. So just sort of looking at the contents. Sorry about the glare. So we see the Fortred on the Acid Sea, From the Boiling Depths, The Realm of Fire, Legends of Fire and Ocean, Idoneth Deepkin, Fyreslayers, Elemental Splendor, Realm Rules, Battle Plans, and then War Scrolls, and then of course our pitch battle profiles. So here we have a little background for the Idoneth Deepkin, some cool art there. A little map with the Realm of Fire. And this is sort of where like basically the water meets the land and there's sort of like some sulfurous volcanic happening. Legend of Fire and Ocean. So a little more background about what's going on here. Why these bros and ladies are fighting. Some really nice looking art. That is our cover art right there. And then we have a little background on the Idoneth Deepkin, some stories. Really nice art in this book, absolutely phenomenal. And then here's for the Fyreslayers. And then some great pictures of our models all painted up and on the battlefield. Again, very nice. And here's for the Idoneth. Man, that Thrallmaster is just absolutely sick. So is that Allopex. I mean, if ever there was something that was going to make you want to play this army, this has got to be it. These are just phenomenal. The detail on these models is great. And I love they have like the two-handed hard hitters and then the Reaver, archers. A nice blend of melee and shooting. And again, a nice battle in process. And then we have our realm rules. So we have some special rules. Probably 4-year games taking place in this for narrative play, it looks like. And Death from the Mist. So we have a mission for narrative play here as well. And then the Rising Waters Drowning Cavern. So this is another cool mission for narrative play. And the Flood of Fire, which is Battle Plan 3, the Eruption. Again, these are all for narrative play. But very cool. I mean, definitely fun way to play your box. And then here we have those same War Scroll cards listed in the book here. So it's nice because we have the actual War Scroll cards and then we have the book containing all those same rules inside. Very nice art. It's a little larger too, maybe a little easier on the eyes. And This way, each of you, well, I guess each of you has your cards and everything anyway, so you're really set. This is nice. I mean, it's great, honestly. And then we have in the back here the points costs for pitch battle profiles and army rules, unit sizes, points, battlefield roles, and then of course our notes as well. So, and last but not least, we have a token sheet. This has our command points, a couple of combat gauges for measuring. So this really does include everything but dice. On the back here, it's the objectives, entangled, way of the vortex, way of the riptide. So a bunch of different various tokens for your gameplay. And then our rulers and everything for Fury of the Deep. So that is it for Fury of the Deep. We see we've got a couple pretty equal piles of plastic over here. We have 4 long sprues and 1 small character sprue there for the dwarves. And then we have a couple of the bigger, like rectangular sprues, and then 1 long sprue and the character for the Idoneth. So 1 less sprue over here, but these rectangle sprues have a little bit more content than the longer, skinnier sprues. So I think it's pretty much an even amount of models when it's all said and done. I think actual body count, it's very close to the same as well. They obviously get this sort of big artillery shark looking thing. Very nice set overall. Really like it. I would say just looking at it, and don't quote me on this, but the only thing missing to actually pick this box up with nothing else and start playing is dice. I think the only thing you would need, because you have the mini rulebook, you have the special rules and war scroll cards, tokens, rulers, all your models. I think you would just need some dice and you could pick this up and it's ready to go. So the USD price point on this is $170. So if we break that in half, that is $85 each for the armies themselves. So it's basically like 2 start collecting boxes put together. It's actually a better deal than that because I believe the Fyreslayer one is $95. Now, obviously, the contents are different for the start collecting boxes, and who knows how much longer the start collecting boxes will be there as they are slowly being replaced, as we have seen of recent with 40K and Sigmar as well. But another huge thing is not only do we get the War Scroll cards with this, not only do we get the book and missions and everything, but this is a very, very intelligent addition in my opinion. Including the core rulebook as well is absolutely genius on their part because that makes it much less of a barrier for entry. 2 brand new players can basically pick up this box set, be ready to roll, and there is no getting home and realizing you don't have what you need to play. So that is crucial. Very, very important to me. And, normally you would be paying like $60 for the big book, or you would have to buy one of the starter sets to get the core rule book. So in this case, basically saving the smaller starting set with a bunch of models and everything is $50 to get the core rulebook. So if you were just going after the core rulebook and there was no other way, you didn't care what you were doing, you just wanted the cheapest way to get that book, you're looking at $50 or $60 for the big book. So the fact that it's included in this set gives so much value to this because it takes the cost of entry for a new player from the 170 plus either 50 or 60 down to just the 170, and you're ready to roll. And now you just need to scrounge up some dice. So very nice set. I give this thing 5 stars. It is absolutely wonderful. The models look great. It looks like overall the balance forces as far as like model amounts. I'm not sure exactly like potency of the models, etc. But very nice set. Really like it. No complaints here. Definitely glad that I picked this up. And I would have to say I recommend you do the same. So if you like dwarves or sea elves, or you have a friend that likes one or the other, I highly recommend this set. Let me know what you think down below. What do you think of the price, the contents? Are these models actually good? Do you play either one of these armies? And are they what you would pick up if you were looking to start or expand on your force? What do you think overall? I appreciate the likes, subscribes, shares, and any interactions in the comment section. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. If you like this type of content for Age of Sigmar, Warcry, Necromunda, Warhammer 40,000, or Kill Team, make sure that you participate in the comments and share, like, and subscribe because we do everything from these unboxings, reactions, reviews, and then obviously we are a commission-based studio, so we show off commissions as they go out, do all sorts of conversions, painting tutorials, and magnetizations, lighting, and pretty much anything else that you can imagine hobby related, including a little bit of D&D. That's it for today, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.